Both Apple's iPhone X and Samsung Galaxy Note 8 feature dual-lens rear cameras, but which one takes better photos? AppleInsider puts two flagship smartphones to test to show you which mobile camera gives you the best value. The specs of the rear cameras on the iPhone X and Note 8 are pretty similar. They're all 12 megapixels, with a 2x zoom feature on both phones using the telephoto lenses. Both phones have dual optical image stabilization as well. The Note 8 has also introduced their own version of Apple's rear-facing portrait mode feature, named Live Focus. But with the Note 8, you can adjust the amount of blur in real time as well as in post. With iOS 11, you can now enable and disable the blur effect on Apple's portrait mode photos, but you can't adjust the blur. iOS 11 also brought a new high-efficiency photo format, which uses half the storage as before while maintaining image quality. The Note 8 also gets a cool dual capture feature, where it'll take a photo using both lenses while in live focus mode, allowing you to switch to the wide lens in post if you choose to. You get a slight increase in megapixels using the Note 8's front-facing camera, but the iPhone X includes the sophisticated True Depth front-facing camera system, which allows for Face ID authentication and a bunch of other features like selfie portrait mode. The Note 8 also has a selfie selective focus mode, so we'll try that out as well. Now let's move on to actually comparing some photos. Starting with rear-facing portrait and live focus modes, we instantly noticed that the Note 8 was oversaturating the colors, though it did do a better job at taking care of the glare near the bottom of the photo. The iPhone X's colors are much more accurate to what we saw through our eyes. Cropping in, we can definitely tell that the Note 8 looks sharper. The X's image looks slightly out of focus, but it's the best out of 3 photos that we took, so it may just be the glare messing with it. Moving on to the wide lens, we don't see much of a difference except the oversaturation on the Note 8. We can also tell that the iPhone X has more contrast if you look at the ground. Cropping in, we see a bunch of noise on the hoodie with the Note 8. The iPhone X does look slightly sharper as well. Up next is a regular selfie photo. The colors don't seem too much off this time, but you can tell that the iPhone X has more contrast. We can also see more detail in the sky on the X, compared to the Note 8, which looks pretty blown out. Cropping in, the iPhone X looks just a bit more detailed than the Note 8. Next, we have a wide photo of a tree to compare detail. The colors are way different, with the iPhone X being the most accurate. We can also tell that the X has more contrast compared to the Note 8's image, which makes the details blend into each other. Cropping in, the X looks more detailed, but it could be due to the lack of contrast on the Note 8. Next up is the same tree except with a telephoto lens. Again, the colors on the X are much more true to life, and the contrast makes it look more pleasing to the eye. Cropping in, we can actually see that the Note 8 is a bit sharper, but due to the lack of contrast, it's hard to tell. Now we have a wide photo using HDR mode on both phones. We can instantly see that the iPhone X holds a lot more details in the sky. The Note 8 again oversaturates the colors, and it's exposed a bit darker. Cropping in, we can see a lot more detail on the iPhone X. Next up is a couple of selfies using selfie portrait and selective focus modes. We can see that they work a little bit differently. The Note 8 actually adds a bokeh ball effect along with the blur, and it maintains details in the foreground like the jacket, compared to the iPhone X, which holds focus on the face and softens everything else. Cropping in, the Note 8's image looks a bit more detailed. The Note 8's blur effect is stronger than on the X, which makes for a seemingly better photo. In the next set of photos, we went under a bridge for a low light scenario. Starting with the telephoto lens, the Note 8 looks a bit oversaturated, but it actually has less noise on the hoodie compared to the X. The rocks in the background are more detailed as well. Cropping in, we can tell that the Note 8's image is sharper, and the X looks soft and the detail is a bit smeared. Now with a wide lens, the iPhone X's image looks a bit overexposed and a tad bit blurry. Cropping in, we can tell that the Note 8 is more sharp, and the letters on the hoodie are blown out on the iPhone X. Finally, we tested out the flash on both phones. The image on the Note 8 is distractingly yellow and completely misses the mark in terms of accuracy. The iPhone X is much more accurate, and it does a better job of balancing the brightness of the background and foreground. Cropping in, we do see more detail in the Note 8's image, with the iPhone X's detail looking a bit smeared. In conclusion, the Note 8's photos are just as sharp or sharper than the iPhone X in various situations, but it oversaturates the colors and has a tendency to lack contrast. The iPhone X does a better job at high dynamic range photos, but detail can get more smeared when in low light than on the Note 8. The blur effect photos on the Note 8 look just as good as the ones on the iPhone X, if not better, thanks to the bokeh ball effect and stronger blur effect. Let us know what you think about this comparison in the comments section below.
If you enjoyed this video, like it and hit that subscribe button. Also, check out our price guide, which makes it extremely easy to find the best deals on Apple products updated daily. Be sure to follow us on social media, and we'll see you in the next video.